Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Today we are sitting down to talk with Jay Shelanskey of the Fifth Trooper Network, and Jay's got some pretty cool stuff to talk about. Jay, how you doing tonight?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I say how you're doing tonight, although it's probably this morning. When you guys are watching this, it may not be nighttime, so disregard that. But
That's the magic of the internet.
it is a magic of the internet. It's always nighttime somewhere.
That's right.
So you are running something pretty cool for Gen Con that people might not be aware of.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So we're actually the Fifth Trooper Network. We're TOing and streaming the Legion event. So we were working, I guess working with Gen Con is a strong word, but we we have the event for Gen Con for Legion. It's going to be all online, of course, as all of Gen Con is this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, but it's the best
Yeah,
we can
I
do,
mean,
right?
Yeah, and part of the thought was, what was it, a few weeks ago now? I was on with you, and we were talking about how COVID has really affected everyone, and we just really thought about this, and we were like, it would be really nice. Last year we did a Northeast Open event where it was just more about the fans and like supporting the fan base and being excited about the game that we all love, and so I really wanted to take that opportunity and do it again, but with Northeast Open and not happening and all these events not happening, we saw an opportunity with Gen Con, and so we're kind of bringing that love
Okay.
to Gen Con, where with Northeast Open our whole focus was we wanted it open to anyone who wanted to play, new to expert level, come play. It's just a fun time, and we're doing that same thing with Gen Con.
So, for anybody who's not familiar now, Gen Con Online, totally virtual event. It's
Yep.
kind of like, Gen Con's normally the biggest board game and tabletop convention in North America, one of the biggest in the world. And
Yep.
this time, because of COVID, it's going all online, which means, and registration is free. So you can register for Gen Con Online. And it's free, but that basically gets you into being able to sign up for events. Now, I've talked a lot of trash privately because one of the things that I like that, I get that they've got to do Gen Con somehow anyway and still make it a presence, but they still are charging for a lot of these events. Now, going to Gen Con, I get like, all right, I got to pay $2, I got to pay $10 to play this game or whatever, because you have like game masters that are setting up a table and their time is there. But normally to play on something like Tabletop Simulator is free, but so many of the stuff you actually have to pay for. Tell us about your event. Like, how much does it cost to play in this tournament that you do?
So good news, bad news there. Completely free. But we
Awesome.
we basically booked all 64 spots within like 5 hours.
Wow.
And so it's full. But I will say this. So for those of you at home who didn't get to register and you're bummed out, we do have a wait list. I encourage you to check that out and sign up in case somebody can't make it. But here's the real awesome part of this. So what I was just saying a few minutes ago about how we want to make this accessible and fun for everyone and just more of a celebration of this game that we love. So if you're watching any of our streams, we're gonna have 3 streams running because we're gonna run it like a normal in real life event, right? So there's 64 players. We're gonna have 32. I'm putting tables in air quotes. We're gonna have 32 tables here, and they're all going to play simultaneously for the first 3 rounds for day 1 and then top 8 for day 2. So we're going to have 3 streams going so that you can switch between tables, so you're not, in case one's slow or just isn't your speed at that moment, you can switch to one of our other streams and watch that. But here's the rub. All of our sponsors, which have been people in the community or other companies that support our community, are not only giving away stuff for the people in the event, but they're giving stuff away for you at home who are watching, who couldn't make it to the event or couldn't get in. So we're going to have random giveaways for the, I'll give a little spoiler here for you, Crabbok. Army Painter is one of our sponsors, and they're giving away a very large paint set to whoever comes in first place. But they also gave us a second one to give away random on stream.
Wow, that's awesome. And so that's we talked a little bit about this before, but I'll also let the audience know that I'm also going to be sponsoring with a core set for Legion, so that's just extra prize support. That's all going.
So I
didn't
know if that was official yet. So yes,
well,
Crabbok,
now it is surprise, yeah.
Is and we're going to determine how we're going to give that away, but yeah. So I mean,
there's from what I've heard, there's lots of prize support. And you don't even have to be playing, so that's all the more reason. So you should go watch the streams too, because hey, if you can't even get in, you can still potentially win something. That's exciting.
And for us, the whole idea behind Fifth Trooper to begin with, like back to when we started this whole podcast journey, was that we love games. And I want to say this game, I love this game too, but as many of you, if you don't know, we recently, within the last couple months, had a switch in format for our podcast where we talk more about a broad spectrum about other minis games as well now too. But I love games in general. I love Legion, and Legion community is one of my favorite communities that I've ever been a part of. And any chance we can to kind of give back for all the support that everyone has given us by listening to our podcast or watching our dumb videos or doing, whatever they can to support us, like any opportunity we can give back, we try to take. And so this is one of those, and I know it sounds sappy and crazy, but like, it is what it is. And we love giving back to the community. Anyone who went to Northeast Open would tell you that. And this time we get an opportunity to do it, and you don't have to pay anything, and you don't have to leave your home. You get to stay home, play Legion with the community, and get free stuff, or watch Legion Saturday and Sunday and get free stuff. Like, what more could you ask for?
I can't really think of, maybe to be able to play in person. Can you make that happen? Can the Fifth Trooper cure COVID?
We're working on a serum right now to fix COVID.
Awesome. Wow. And you can find it at thefifthtrooper.com, right?
That's right. Yeah.
No. Question is, if you guys are all doing it at the same time and you're going to kind of run this like a real event, will it be timed? And I know it's harder to do that. Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we're basically setting up the schedule as just like we would an actual in real life event. So, it starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday. They'll have, I want to say it's 3 hours. Rounds are going to be 3 hours, then a half an hour to report and get settled, and then go into round 2. And then we're going to have a lunch break at around 5 on Saturday. So everybody could go take a break, go get something to eat, go kiss your babies and say hi to your wives or husbands, and then on to round 3.
Okay.
And so, with same way you would run an in real life tournament. And then we're going to try to, we can only stream 3 games at a time because we'll have 3 channels going, but we'll have three games every round, and we'll try to pick them random, and, and then Sunday is top 8. So, we'll be, I think the first 2 rounds of Sunday, we're going to do the 3 parallel streams. And then for the final, we're all going to condense into one stream, so you can just watch the final.
Oh, all right, that sounds interesting. Now, do you have any predictions, like based on anybody that you've seen enter? Do you got any predictions on who is it going to be? Is it going to be critical Luke Cook coming out on top again?
I wouldn't be surprised if Luke Cook took it again. He is a phenom from my own beautiful state of upstate New York. He's one of our boys up here, and we love Luke, and that one surprised me. My hope is, as much as I love Luke, and of course would want him to win because he's a friend of ours, but like I would love to see a name no one's heard of come out and take it. I would really love that, Wow. So it's interesting.
My question for you, because I want to make a prediction.
All right.
Do you know if the Stabcast's Tim Hannon has signed up yet? Cinderella.
That's a good question. I don't know
if he's signed up. I'm gonna if he wins, I'm gonna double my giveaway.
All right, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
If Tim Hannon from Stabcast wins, you're getting 2 core sets.
Yeah.
Now, is it the same person that's getting 2 core sets, or are you gonna give away 2 separate core sets?
Probably 2 separate ones, but I mean, like, let's be real. I'm not gonna have to do that. But I'm sorry, Tim. If you're watching, no, do it for the people. Now you've got motivation.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, but hey, things happen when when we're doing interviews that we have barely rehearsed. So
Yeah. Oh my God, that's
all right,
perfect.
yes. So all right, so let's talk about maps. Are you guys using
Yeah.
any? Is there any change? Because the big what was the big tournament that happened on TTS just recently?
Invader League.
Invader League. Are we using all the same maps from that, or are we changing things up at all, or can you
Yeah,
talk about it yet?
I could talk about it. I'm not going to say what specific ones, but the plan is so for those of you maybe who are new to this, right? Invader League's been going on for about 5 seasons, and every season they build these new maps for Invader League to play on, and and they've always tried to keep it within the Star Wars universe, and so on, and so they've gotten more elaborate and more difficult to play, and not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, but
Well, I
they're
heard
not
that one of them
just-
had too many particle effects, so technically it was a little difficult to play.
Yeah. But so what we're going to do is we're going to go through all 5 seasons of Invader League, all the maps that are available on the TTS mod, and we're going to pick the best ones. We have a number of judges already signed up, and they're all just similar names you would know, like the Grand Marshal Brendan Franz is going to be our head.
I've
our
never
head
heard.
judge.
I've never heard of him other than to say I think he likes flat terrain.
Yeah, that's right.
think
He
he
likes
does.
to be in charge of things. And so Brendan's going to be our head judge. We've got a stable of other judges that you guys all know and love if you're familiar with the Legion circuits. So you're going to see a lot of familiar faces in the judging arena, and they're going to help us kind of pick and weed through what we think are going to be a fair terrain, things that will be reasonable for people who are maybe playing TTS for the first time.
Sure.
And just trying to make it as easy and digestible as we can make it for everyone.
Okay. Now I've got another question for you. As far as unit legality,
Oh, yeah.
are we going to basically use kind of the same unit set of what was available for LVO, or since we've now got like Cad Bane like fully spoiled and released in some parts of the world, and Padme fully spoiled and released in some part of are we going to see those cards now available as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. So typically Invader League uses anything that's been spoiled, right? So right now, for instance, they have arcs and like BX droids because
Right.
they've been spoiled, and we kind of know, a good majority
Sure.
of the cards. So they're available in the mod. We, however, because inherently we wanted the spirit of this to be in real life tournament, we're using the same guidelines as we would use for any other major tournament, which they have to be purchasable in the US 11 days before the event.
So that
And
would put the
so-
lockout at Cad Bane and Padme as the most recent that would be legal, I think.
Yeah, if they come out Friday, which I got my shipping notice from Asthma Day for my pre-order, so they should be here Friday, so those will be legal for the online tournament.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. So you can try and get you can get some practice in with those. Do you what do you think will be the most predominant faction in the top 8?
So if arcs were available, I would have said clones. But since arcs are not available to play, I don't know. I think everyone has a shot. I think Evan, my co-host on our podcast, we're talking about this the other day, and CIS, the droids are probably the most well-rounded, where you don't feel like there's anything that's a bad choice in taking in the droids. And so I think they have a solid chance of taking it, doing well.
Okay.
Clones are super good even without arcs. Arcs just make them that much better. But maybe this is an opportunity for Empire and Rebel to have one last hurrah before
Sure.
before clones start killing everything in sight.
I think it's going to be really interesting because now, what day is this starting? Is this starting that Friday?
Saturday.
Starting
It's
Saturday. Okay.
August 1st and 2nd.
So everybody will have had time to hopefully to see and digest kind of whatever new announcements come out that Wednesday night from the in-flight brief. So it'll be interesting to see the lists that are doing well, and then at the same time kind of reflect and say, yes, but they just announced Jar Jar Binks, and how's he going to work with it, so on and so forth, of course.
And I think it'll be an opportunity too for if you're not playing and you're just coming and joining the stream and joining our chat, it'll be an opportunity to ask all of us. The other two streams are going to be headed up by some of the scoundrels, the notorious scoundrels. So we'll have a number of people who are well versed in Legion, so you can ask your questions and get our reactions a few days later as to what was spoiled in the in-flight report.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting because out of everything, I think Legion holds a very special place, at least for me right now, because out of all of their Star Wars games, I feel like almost every announcement has already been spoiled, with the exception of Legion stuff. Like, there's some things that have kind of leaked out, and but there's so much that I really honestly have no idea. So personally, I'm really excited as a Legion player for this particular Gen Con, because I think there's a lot of surprises on the horizon.
All right, so I have a fun game for you that we can play since this is your video. Okay.
All right.
And we've both played this separately, but I don't know how many. I think we've only talked about it maybe once. But what would be like the biggest surprise, like legitimate, something you think could actually happen, but would be the biggest surprise for you to see?
All right. Well, I think it would be an AT-AT. I think and I know that this sounds crazy, but I feel like there's a legitimate chance of it coming in some fashion, because Andrew Navarro kind of hinted that like really large stuff could come in as a reduced scale way back when they did that Ask Me Anything. I had begun to dismiss the AT-AT for a while, and then somebody in one of my streams said, "Hey man, what do you think the chances are?" I'm like, "Oh man, you know what? It could be a possibility, whether it's a terrain piece or a functional unit." I can't even imagine, because I will almost certainly guess wrong, but but that would be the big, literally the fit, both metaphorically or figuratively and literally, the biggest surprise for me.
So let me ask you this: what do you think that price point's going to be on that bad boy if it comes?
I would go for about 179.
Yeah.
Based on the Superstar Destroyer for Armada being the biggest mini they've ever done, but as a pre-painted mini, should be a little more expensive than something you have to assemble yourself. So I think somewhere around 159 to 179 is the price point I would give.
So you could go get one of those Kenner AT-ATs that were for the figures for the same price.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the table.
Honestly,
I mean, it would be roughly the same size, right? Didn't we figure that out from a scale standpoint?
The toys were a little bit disproportionate, but I will say this: the toy Millennium Falcon, and I had gotten one at Goodwill, and then I think my kids lost a piece to it, so I ended up having to send it back to Goodwill. But it's almost perfect for Legion. The figures that are in there are way too big. They can't stand up in the corridors. They're wedged in there. But it's perfect size for Legion. So with obviously some of the proportions in the landing gear is way, grossed out of proportion. But yeah, it would be pretty close. I would love to see it. I don't think it'll be full scale, though. I think it'll be like 70% of its actual scale. That's what I would guess.
So it's something that what's your wildest dream?
Okay, so there was like three girl. Wait, a Legion related.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Family friendly here.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. You caught me off guard there. Wow. And I should edit that out, but I probably won't. Okay. So no, I want to see some sub-faction news. I don't know if that's a wild dream because it's already been hinted at, but I would love to see. I really want to see something like Star Wars Epic Duels, a type of mode where it's like heroes only. But in order to do that, you need a lot more heroes per faction, because there's relatively few, like especially the big named heroes. So we'd have to see a wave that had like 2 named Inquisitors, Kanan and Ezra for the Rebels, 2 Sith like Maul and Savage Opress or Ventress, and like Mace Windu and Kit Fisto or something like that. You would need like a lot more named characters all to come out with one big wave to justify a mode like that. Now you could do it now. You could just do 800 points of commanders and operatives, but you'd have to mix good factions and bad factions. You'd have to like take Luke Skywalker operative and Obi-Wan Kenobi commander. Like you'd have to merge stuff,
Right.
which could be really fun for a kitchen table game. But but I'd love to see something like that become an official alternate mode, which would make a great side event at conventions, especially if you lose, like you don't make it to day 2 at LVO. Hey, you want to play? You want to play Hero Elites? Oh, okay, cool. Like. And your whole list could fit in a lunchbox. It'd be great.
So it's really interesting because before the darkest timeline here happened, skirmish, they were pushing skirmish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we did a couple skirmish streams on our channel, and it was fine, and it was fun, and it was quick, and it was everything it needed to be, right? And what they wanted it to be. But I just don't see how that was ever going to go anywhere. Like, I think as a side event, it's great, right? Like if you got a few minutes, like an hour and a half, and you want to play a skirmish Legion, great. But I think the 800 point game is just so good that it's hard to get anybody to settle at this point, right?
The game's designed and balanced for an 800 point game. So like what's, secret mission is balanced against having, 800 points potentially shooting at R2D2 or whatever. And so, you that's why certain things are so drastically different in half the size. And so I think something like a heroes versus villains kind of game mode would be, different enough that maybe it's like, okay, I don't mind trying a whole different mode now because it's totally different. And I would love to see something like that come out of it.
Yeah, I was thinking, you have your AI system that you were working on as well, right?
Yeah.
So we recently played Fallout, the Fallout minis game.
Okay.
And their AI system in that is redonkulous. It is so good.
Really?
And I was thinking, man, if Legion could do something like that and take it, and maybe like, wasn't there a rumor at some point, or like with I think it was from Navarro, right? The at conversation, but it was like, maybe it's a Rancor, and it's, and it has like an AI, right? And then you could play like a cooperative mode to defeat the Rancor,
maybe that's where you bring your heroes, maybe, and then you could even have different factions work together to bring down the beast, because we saw in the Clone Wars, Dooku teamed up with Obi-Wan and Anakin at one point to get out of a tough situation. So thematically, you have no problem. The Zillo beast would be another. Well, that might be too big. That's like straight up Godzilla, but still, I mean that's kind of the idea, right? And I don't know, that would be really fun. I could see that working. And I think you need to eventually have some type of AI mechanic if you want to be able to have creatures. And I think, non-bound creatures is a really good way to go. We saw that with Imperial Assault, but they were like assigned to an army. But I think you could do that. I think it'd be really fun. And again, we're talking like convention events. Like that's the place to run those big, silly, wild, crazy events.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we know that they're doing an AI system for X-Wing they're working on right now. It looks like it's really cumbersome, but at least it's something that they're considering.
Working on it. Yeah, and I think the big tournaments, the 800 events will always be the premier, right? But at a lot of these events that we've gone to, a lot of people really enjoy the narrative events that some of these tournaments have put on, or even the smaller side events. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for Legion to start featuring some of that. And it would be great to have it be pushed as official, so that we can get some of the cooler stuff. And it's not just like guys like you doing the AI deck and us doing the event deck.
I love that event. I was going to bring that up too, because that's like another thing that's a different enough way to play that if you were at a convention, or if you were having a party or something like that, and you just said, hey, let's do something different now, like every turn, new card, changing up the rules it's like we're fighting on the chaos planet, and like that's a fun thing to do. And that's my problem with skirmish, is that it was too similar to the 800 point game, and that's like, if I'm gonna go through all the trouble of still setting up, because I still got to clean off the table, so I got to pull out a mat, got to pull out terrain, got to get all my cards organized. Like that's one of the hardest points of the game for me, is like getting ready to play. It can easily take. Maybe it's because I got 3 kids I got to chase after and stuff, and get them to clean up. Why'd you leave your cup of milk out on the table? But like getting ready to play is most of the work for me. So like by that point, if I'm just gonna do a smaller version of the exact same game, I'd rather do something totally different so it feels different.
Yeah, I just, it's funny, and this was kind of what I was hoping for our audience, not to bring it back to our podcast, but when we made the decision to kind of start talking about other games, the idea wasn't abandoning Legion.
Mm-hmm.
It was, let's see what else is out there, and maybe we can bring ideas to Legion by just going and exploring. We got our space background here, so let's talk
Absolutely.
about exploring, right?
Yeah.
And going out into the wilds and seeing what other game systems are doing, and maybe we can bring some of that back to Legion and
Yeah.
with a renewed vigor,
Here,
right, for
let's
Legion.
go into hyperspace.
All
There we
right,
go.
please.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
feel so much better
Yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly. All right, so you don't normally see background shifts mid video, but you just did. Um, so and I think that's one of the like where we talked about the heroes kind of thing. A lot of people who played Warhammer, then when they came out with Kill Team, it was like
Yeah.
it was fully compatible with like you could or almost fully compatible. Like I would love to see something like that announced for Legion, and I would have never even thought of that if I hadn't branched out and like tried
Right.
other games and at least gotten it. Doesn't mean that you have to fall in love with another game, but at least like having a fresh perspective kind of makes you
Yeah.
come back and say, what do I really love about this game and what do I think could be improved?
Well, and if you're a competitive player, I think Evan and I have been getting into like bolt action, and we've
Hmm.
been playing Warlords of Erawan, and we're gonna be we played the Fallout games, but I think just playing other games also gives you a fresh perspective on tactics and
Yeah.
on how to play on the table and utilizing, maybe you see something when you're playing a different game that you've never
Mhm.
realized before, and you're like, oh shoot, this would work in Legion,
Okay.
and just coming back with either, a renewed respect, because Legion at its core is a really good game system. It really good game
Yeah,
system.
I enjoy it almost as much as Armada. Armada's like my
Yeah,
number one. Legion's number two, and it's actually not that far a difference. So it's a really, and I think it's because of the terrain. I love it's my
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
part. Yeah. Well, what can I say? It's fun actually being able to like, oh, can I? Oh, if I jump on this, then I can, drop some mines in your face. Like it's fun.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Talking about exploring and kind of branching out from different perspectives.
Yeah.
Let's say Fantasy Flight were to get like another license or IP, or just to make another game. Because like sometimes they'll make multiple games kind of using the same system. Like I'll
Sure.
take Descent and Imperial Assault, right? Let's say they were to make another game kind of like Legion,
Okay.
with a new IP, whether it's one of their own existing IPs or some new license.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say it was going to be similar enough to Legion that it could be compatible. What would be your kind of like your dream? Like what would be on your wish list for like IPs or genres or something that you
Oh
could
gosh.
potentially run alongside or even take head to head against the Legion army?
Yeah, I mean,
Outside
I'm
of
in a whole.
tournament stuff, of course. I mean,
Yeah, they already. I forgot the name. What was the name of that fantasy game that they had?
Rune Wars.
Rune
Yeah.
Wars, yeah. So I'm a fantasy nerd, right? Like,
Okay.
so I always played, one of the first games I ever got into was Warhammer Fantasy.
Hmm.
So I love the fantasy kind of IP, like no matter what it is.
Hmm.
But if they could take their Rune Wars IP, because I think they had beautiful models for
They,
that game.
I agree. It died before its time.
Yeah, well, because I think the mechanics were clunky. You're fighting an uphill battle because everyone's doing, you're already fighting the uphill battle because everyone does fantasy.
Mhm.
But if you had a good basis, a good game system that as its base layer, then everyone's going to accept fantasy. And so I would say bring back Rune Wars, but put it in the Legion game system.
Yeah, like a Rune Wars second edition almost.
Yeah, and you just copy everything over, the mechanics completely over.
Hmm.
Do the same, the card system. I don't know, maybe even use some of the same keywords as long as they make sense, and then just
You know,
build it out as fantasy.
that's a good idea. I would love to see that because I think Rune Wars had a lot more potential to go upwards, like especially with
Yeah.
more fantastic creatures too, like dragons and bigger, nastier stuff.
Yep.
But they just never really got there. But one thing that was kind of cool was the whole rank and file system. And I wonder
Yeah.
if maybe there's a way that they could add like new keywords that address how the minis are cohesified. Like
Sure.
maybe like you do that, and it could even be something you could even potentially borrow a system like that and bring it over into Legion. If you wanted to have more like official standing armies, I'm like, all right, well, if you line these guys up rank and file, where they're not cohesified optimally, now all of a sudden you get maybe a bonus. Like,
could you just, because like I'm just thinking like, oh my God, like all the tanks and like the airspeeder, like just think of their like mechanics and the ATS team mechanic, and then just put like a Hydra for the ATST,
oh
or
yeah,
like, you know what I mean, or like a Werven for the
or a
the
stone
airspeeder.
giant. Well, they kind of had us. They kind of had a stone, but like a big, like giants, troll, ogres, man. Oh,
Right.
ogres with nunchucks.
Right, and then you have like, you have the nunchucks. So then you have like, your the ATRT level size, or you already have kind of
They got the
creature troopers.
worms, kind of like
Right,
that. Yeah.
dude, you could put trolls in. You could put like, I think it's wide open. I mean that was a question that I wasn't ready for, but that was my answer.
No, that's okay. That was a good answer. That was a good, and it's something because I played Rune Wars. I still have my Rune Wars minis at least. I think I got rid of all the cardboard because I'm not playing that game again. But the minis are nice, and hey, D&D or whatever.
So a little story for any of you out there who maybe did the same thing that Crabbok did, or that I did with Warhammer Fantasy, where you invested into a fantasy game. Just as an aside, Warlords of Erawan by Warlord Games is basically you just buy a book. You could buy a PDF, you could buy a physical book, okay? And they use any fantasy minis, and you can build armies. So if you already have all these fantasy minis, you just buy the book and you can start playing the game.
Nice.
It's that easy.
Nice. Oh, that would be exciting. I don't know.
So,
I kind of wish they would also make Marvel Crisis Protocol compatible. Have you guys played Marvel Crisis Protocol at all yet?
so we got the course that we haven't put it on the table yet. I'm excited to though. Soon.
I hope you love it because it's not as deep as Legion. The rules are a lot simpler, but it's each character's rules that give them so much depth. So it's like your team defines your rule set almost, and it plays once you get it down. It plays in about a half an hour, so you can play multiple games. It's kind of a breath of fresh air for me. It's like it's really fun, but I don't know enough people that play, and right now it's kind of hard to get physical games going on. But someday,
a couple of the guys over at Fifth Trooper are getting into it, and I think there's a TTS mod that they've been playing on that so they've been getting some reps in.
Okay, I could see that maybe working better for TTS than because I'm not a big fan of Legion TTS, and I know that we're still kind of going to come full circle here and talk about the thing, but about your event and the tournament, and that's one of the things that like I could never really get into the TTS with the Legion because of I just have a hard time kind of like lining up line of sight, and I'm not as good in that type of environment, But I think Crisis Protocol, because it's pretty much top down when it comes to terrain, might work a little better in that regard.
Well, I think last time I was on your show here, I made it very clear that I was not a fan of TTS for Legion, just because it's just not the same as in real life. Like the dice rolls are always off. Things are a little clunky as far as trying to put stuff in, but. All that being said, during COVID, it's been kind of a godsend for everyone, right?
It's better to have it. It's better to have the choice, and also, even though I'm somebody who doesn't play it, I am still interested in hearing people's game output and their interpretation of how good certain mechanics end up actually being. Like for example, Iden Versio looks good on paper, but apparently she plays even better than she looks, and I might not have been able to get that kind of feedback if not for all the TTS games and things like that. So
it's interesting, right? Because I just think there's some games that port over to digital very well, and they're seamless, but then I just think Legion unfortunately isn't one of those. But what we have is amazing.
Yeah.
And I love what we have, and it's giving us an opportunity to do the Gen Con online. So it's a double-edged sword for me, right?
Absolutely. It's a great option to have. And if you don't like playing, you can always just watch.
Right. And I just like being honest about it. I don't like leading anyone astray and tell you how great TTS is, and it's for everybody, and you should do it because we're holding an online tournament. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it, but I enjoy that people enjoy it.
Yeah.
How's that?
I think it would I like the idea of it, but I feel like what would be awesome, and I think it's unlikely to happen, but if Fantasy Flight like interactive still was going and they could develop like their own dedicated client for games like that. That was actually going to be a much smoother interface and really give you a better level of immersion. You know, if there was a better level of immersion for something like that, I think that could be fun. But
I feel like this whole situation that we're in with the pandemic and shelter in place and stay at home, I think it's going to open the eyes of a lot of game companies, and I hope it does, that when they develop a game that they take advantage of the digital realm that we all live in now, and really, like, you know, they're always worried about money. And my argument has always been, if you build your game in TTS, let's use TTS, that's a platform that already exists. If you build your game in there, you're allowed to charge for that. So you could charge, you know, 10, 15 bucks. I would pay that to have an official version, and that you're making your money. And I guarantee you that 90% of the people that play that digital game will buy it in real life as well.
Yeah, because they're going to want to play with their friends, and maybe not everybody's got TTS. And honestly, like, being stuck at home, how many times have you noticed, like, your internet goes out and now all of a sudden you're like, oh, even if it's only 5 minutes, right? If you have a power outage,
my world explodes.
It does, and that's one of the things that makes having board games or tabletop games, like, take my stress level from here down to, like, whoa, it's totally manageable. Because if we lose, because I live in Florida, we have hurricanes. If we lose power for a couple of days, I've got entertainment. I won't have air conditioning, so we'll probably all die, but I'll have entertainment. So
I agree 100% with that. We the other day, the family, we played Forgotten Waters because the internet was down, and we're like, you know what, family fun night.
Yes,
and so we popped out Forgotten Waters, and it's funny, they have a digital component to it, but you can use it offline.
Okay.
So I had cell signal, so I just got it, downloaded it to my phone, and then it just worked offline. And so I think more companies need to take a look at that as an example of how to do things right.
I think that's a good idea. So talking about Waters, I know I've kind of gotten off topic, and I don't know how much more time you have. I don't want to keep you too long, but we talked about this a little bit. All right, with the Waters and everything, at some point, right, I'm going to transition into a video game. So I want to talk Sea of Thieves just for a moment, because we're going to officially throw down the gauntlet. All right. So my team versus your team, or versus whoever else, however many we'll be able to fit. At some point, they're supposed to open up like private servers to where we can be like, all right, we can get on like Discord or something and be like, all right, we can invite the different crews, the content creators. Like, that should be like an event. Like, we should try and do that like maybe once every other month or something like that. You know, where we get like, you know, showdowns. May the best crew prevail. Whether it's all sloops or we take galleons and, you know, maybe merge crews, because I don't really have much of a crew. I've got a very small crew. You know,
we could build one for you. I mean, I agree 100%. The stab.
I'll just start I'll start poaching your guys. I bet you I could get Evan over here.
I bet you could. He's sick of me.
Evan and Mike. I think Mike could come too.
Yeah, because so what happens is when we do our Sea of Thieves stream, I'm more of a like agent of chaos, like you are on our RPG, and so you know, on the Sea of Thieves, I'm more of an agent of chaos, where I'm just like, what does this firebomb do? And I throw it at our own boat, and you know, or I'll knock people off the boat while they're like trying to look for enemy ships. And I would love, they're gonna have those private servers. I think that would be amazing to get, you know, the Crabbok crew, the 5th Trooper crew, and the Stabcast crew all on there, like trying to.
And I think it'd be really funny too if we were all doing our own streams, so the audience could be like, "Let's go check on this." My God, I wish there was a way to like take like 4 different crews' streams and all consolidate them into like one kind of repository. So like, you know, actually you'd probably have to have another third-party streamer who's taking all of these streams, linking them together in some kind of sophisticated interface, and be like, and now let us go forth and watch the Optimus Prime ship, you know.
So maybe that's what we do. We find another content creator who maybe doesn't play Sea of Thieves, and we just say, all right, so your stream is going to be all of our stream.
Oh my goodness.
We're each going to stream. Oh my God. Like, it'd be content creator inception.
It would be really weird. And then we each then take his or her video and then each break it down. So then we're streaming their stream of our stream.
Love it.
Okay, I'm about to go cross-eyed. I think.
And then we do reactions later in the week to their stream that they did of us.
Oh, I can't believe they thought they were going to jump out of their crow's nest and hit us with a barrel of whatever, the gunpowder.
This is where Crabbok made his first mistake.
Yeah. I don't know. Every once in a while, you hit gold. Like I was playing last week, and I decided, let's go after these guys. It was a bigger ship than us, and I launched myself out of the cannon at a really high angle, and I landed straight on their deck from like a mile away. And awesome. I just went down and underneath decks and started launching fire bombs, and they had a gunpowder keg below deck. My first firebomb hit it, blew the whole ship up, and killed me. And I said, that's the most glorious death of all time. And
That's
if,
amazing.
and if
I love
only
when
it was
stuff
captured
like
on something, but yeah.
Oh gosh, I love it when that happens. Like it's like anything else. There's good days and bad days on Sea of Thieves.
There is.
And the highs are high and the lows are low.
They can be. And if you guys haven't played it already, it's an incredible experience, because there's really so many games now you're playing like, oh, I gotta level up or whatever. And that's one thing I like about tabletop games, like coming back to Legion. Like if you play another game of Legion, you're playing it because it's fun. You're not playing it because like, oh, I need to max my Stormtrooper faction, or I need to level up my Darth Vader. No, you're playing because it's fun. There's no grind in tabletop. And there's really not much of a grind in my opinion, in Sea of Thieves. You can grind for aesthetics. You can grind for like a new hat or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and that's the brilliant thing about that game is that, let's say, Evan or Bushfax, like they're really into the outfits and dressing up the boats and getting animals and all this stuff, and that's great, right? So they play all the time. They're building up their money cash, like they're leveling up their pirates to get like pirate legend and all this stuff. But then I can come on a random day and I don't have any of that stuff, but we're equals.
You totally equals. Yeah, it's all. Although everything you gain is just for visuals, for a title or some kind of fluff, and it's fun because the fluff is cool. Some of it looks cool, but you have no gameplay difference at all. And
and even some of the stuff like becoming pirate legend, you get different adventures that you can go on. But if I'm on your squad and I'm not a legend, I could still do it with you, and I get all the benefits of it.
I think that I wish more games had that. Hey, let's just play it because it's a good time, as opposed to let's play it because we need to grind.
It's inherently the whole definition of a game, right? It's a game. It's for fun.
That's what gaming used to be like. Nobody ever played Super Mario Brothers trying to like level up Luigi, right? Back in the day, you played just because we're having fun to play it.
Yeah,
and so they've kind of really they've been innovative with this game. So, but we're like, I know I'm like 6 miles off topic right now. So, like wrapping everything up.
Gen Con online.
Yeah, absolutely.
August 1st and 2nd. Come watch our stream. We'll be posting in all the Legion social media where you can watch the stream, and we're really excited about it. And like I said, you'll have opportunity to win random giveaways.
That's awesome. And you guys are just going to be basically on your YouTube channel, or are you going to have some of your guys put it on Twitch too, or?
Yeah, so we'll have our YouTube channel streaming it, and then Yavin Base, which does most of the Vader League and Team League and all that. David Endless, he'll be doing it, and then Mike Berry or Dashes, he'll be doing on his Twitch as well. And we'll have I think what we're going to do
is that the Legion University one, or is that one of yours?
No.
Okay, I'm confused.
No, that has nothing. I don't know who that is. Okay. That has nothing to do with us. So dashes.tv is his.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we'll be doing. I think the plan is to put it on a webpage where you can watch all three at the same and then switch between them. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. I can't wait for you guys to see all the amazing giveaways we're going to have. And it's just going to be a fun time.
Sounds like fun. All right, well, Jay, I want to thank you for coming on and like telling us all about this cool stuff. And what's your website for those who don't know?
TheFifthTrooper.com.
We'll put a link down in the description.
Thank you for having me, dude. I really appreciate you helping us spread the word
Absolutely.
About all of our dumb stuff. So thank you.
Well, if it's Gen Con related, I'm probably going to cover it because like. Gen Con is kind of like my busiest time of the year, so it's
awesome.
I'm glad I can get the word out now instead of having to wait until that weekend and just being overloaded with 1,000 things to talk about.
It'll be great, and please just come check it out and sign up for one of the giveaways. I think you'll be happy. So.
All right, guys, that's about it. I want to thank Jay for hanging out with us. I want to thank you guys all for watching, and big thanks to all of the patrons and subscribers and all of that good stuff. I skipped all the admin stuff today, but check the links in the description below if you want to get any cool merch or any of that stuff. And as always, have a great day.